Thanks, everybody, for coming out. We are continuing on in Matthew 20. We're talking about offensive grace tonight, which is a fascinating subject. I am very excited to talk about this with you tonight, but I am also very excited to show you guys and girls this clip. Are you ready? This is a doozy. Where am I at here?
Because I didn't feel accountable to anybody. I didn't feel that I had to face what I had done ever. And so you have, there comes a point where a person has to be accountable for what he's done. Can't go around making excuses, blaming other people or other things. So I alone am the one who's responsible for what's happened.
Let me ask, when did you first feel that everyone is accountable?
Well, thanks to you for sending that creation science material, because I always believe the lie that evolution is truth, the theory of evolution is truth, that we all just came from the slime, and when we died, that was it. There was nothing. So the whole theory cheapens life, and started reading books about that show how evolution is just a complete lie. There's no basis in science to uphold it, and I've since come to believe that the Lord Jesus Christ is the true creator of the heavens and the earth. It just didn't just happen, and I have accepted Him as my Lord and Savior. And I believe that I, as well as everyone else, will be accountable to Him. I mean, if a person doesn't think that there is a God to be accountable to, then what's the point of trying to modify your behavior to keep it within acceptable ranges? That's how I thought, anyway. And I've since come to believe that the Lord Jesus Christ is truly God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. They're the only true God. Because I didn't feel accountable to anybody. I didn't feel that I had to.
We don't need to see that twice. Anyway, who was that? Jeffrey Dahmer. You guys have seen the shows, the documentary. You're all on Netflix. You know who that is. That's Jeffrey Dahmer. And fascinating interview. And there's so many things that we can unpack in that interview, but there's one thing in particular that I want to focus in on, and that's the potential reality that Jeffrey Dahmer is in heaven. There's kind of this in Forge, I won't say who, but there was a running joke in Forge that Jeffrey Dahmer's not a bad guy. And there's context to that, right? This was like right after the show came out. I am not advocating for Jeffrey Dahmer being a good guy. But when you hear something like that, Jeffrey Dahmer is not really that bad of a guy. It causes a reaction. Like, you want to recoil to that statement. Jeffrey Dahmer isn't that bad. But here we have something even more offensive. The fact that Jeffrey Dahmer could potentially be in heaven. Now, I'm not standing up here definitively saying that he did receive Christ. It's possible he was playing the manipulation game. I don't know. I don't know his heart. Thankfully, I don't have to judge his heart. Thankfully, someone much bigger and much smarter than me will be the one who judges Jeffrey Dahmer's heart. But he even said in this interview, someday we're all going to be accountable to God. And if he, after his death, came face to face with God and said, I've accepted Jesus Christ in my heart, God would say, come on in. And that is wild. That is offensive. In what reality does this make sense, right? If you think about, it's kind of wild to think about the greats throughout church history, right? You have Paul, Moses, Paul, and then after that you have St. Augustine, Martin Luther, me and you, and Jeffrey Dahmer hanging out together in heaven. That is absolutely insane. It's kind of horrifying to think about that. And there's two possible reactions to this. One is like, holy cow, God is so incredibly generous and forgiving. And the other is offensive. I can't believe God would permit this to happen. I can't believe that it's possible that the God of the Bible would say, come on in to someone like Jeffrey Dahmer. And if we think that's offensive, and I think many of us would be offended at a thought like that, Jesus has a question for us tonight in this parable. Do you begrudge my generosity? So let's dive in. So this is Jesus Christ, Matthew 20. He's telling a parable now. So in the context of this, right before Matthew 20, we had Jesus interacting with the little kids, trying to run up to Jesus Christ. Disciples are trying to shoo him away. You have the rich young ruler, and there's this dialogue, and all these crazy things happen in Matthew 19, and Jesus Christ ends by saying, and some of the last will be first, and the first will be last. And then he immediately goes right into this parable. For the kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who went out early into the morning to hire laborers for his vineyard. When he agreed with the laborers for a denarius a day, he sent them into the vineyard. A denarius would be a day's wage. This is just a common thing back then. You work a day, you get a day's wage. And he went out about the third hour and saw others standing idle in the marketplace. And to those he said, you also go into the vineyard, and whatever is right, I will give you. And so they went. Again, he went out about the 6th hour and the 9th hour and did the same thing. And at about the 11th hour, these were 12-hour days. So the last hour of work, the 11th hour, he goes out and he found others standing around. And he said to them, why have you been standing here idle all day long? They said to him, because no one has hired us. He said to them, you go into the vineyard too. So this is the setting of this parable. There would be this marketplace where people who were day laborers would go to this marketplace early in the morning. The workday was 6 to 6. They would show up at the marketplace before the crack of dawn, hoping that they would get hired. And it's probably safe to assume that this vineyard owner, it's harvest season. And when it's harvest season in a vineyard, there's a short window where you have to do a lot of work. You have to gather all of your grapes, because if you don't get to them quick enough, you lose a ton of money. Every year, Adi and I are way too ambitious when we plant our garden. And 50% of the tomatoes we plant just end up in the ground. 25% of them end up eaten by our kid. He just stands in his diaper and eats the tomatoes. But the bottom line is, like, we're not fast enough often, and we lose a ton of crops. But this is like a small backyard garden, so it's not really that big of a deal. But for this guy, this is his livelihood. And he would have servants who work at his vineyard year-round, that he's employed year-round. But the amount of work that needs to be done at harvest season exceeds the amount of people he has in his employment. So he has to go out to the marketplace during harvest season and hire these people. And that's the scene here. He goes out 6 in the morning, finds a bunch of people, go work in my vineyard, I'll pay you a day's wage. Goes back out 3 hours later, 9 a.m., finds more people, sends them in. And he only really discusses wage explicitly with the first group. He says, I'll pay you a day's wage. After that, I think at the 9 a.m., he says, I'll pay you whatever is right, which would make sense that I'm paying you 3/4 of a denarius, right? You work 3/4 of a day. That's what you would expect, getting paid 3/4 of a day wage. But he does this again. He does this at 6 a.m., 9 a.m., noon, 3 p.m., and then finally, and very oddly, he does it at 5 p.m., 1 hour before the day ends. So we have this vineyard, everybody's working, and everybody's showing up at different times. Anyway, now it's the end of the day. When evening came, the owner of the vineyard said to his foreman, call the laborers and pay them their wages, beginning with the last group first. When those hired at the 11th hour came, each one received a denarius. You worked an hour. They worked an hour. They got paid a full day's wage. When those hired first, the 6 a.m. people, when they came, they thought that they would receive more, but each of them also received a denarius. When they received it, they grumbled at the landowner, saying, these last men worked only 1 hour, and you have made them equal to us who have borne the burden in the scorching heat of the day. So there's this weird exchange that happens. The first weird thing is the people who got hired at 5 p.m., who only worked 1 hour, they line up last. And you got to imagine that this is on purpose, right? He's trying to send a message, but these 5 a.m. people 5 p.m. people line up, and they get paid first, and they get paid a full day's wage. If I'm a 6 a.m. guy, if I've been there working 12 hours, the first thought that enters my head is that guy got paid a full day's wage and he worked 1 hour. I'm about to get paid, dude. I am getting a bag here today. Like maybe surely he's not giving me like 12 days wages, like a day's wage per hour. That's absurd, but I got to at least be getting like 6 to 8. And then the 3 p.m. people show up. They get paid a day's wage. That's weird. Then the noon people. Then the 9 a.m. people. And then finally, you get paid. And you've been there all day, and you get paid a day's wage. And it says here, we have been working throughout the scorching heat. I have been doing back-breaking manual labor for 12 hours. You get why they are frustrated. This doesn't make any economic sense. It kind of seems like just mistreatment from the vineyard owner. Like, why are you treating me like this? I work significantly harder than these people over here, yet you are paying me the exact amount. I tell you what, tomorrow I'm going to roll out of bed late. I'm going to hit the links. I'm going to golf 9, and then I'm going to roll to the marketplace at 4:30. Because if that's all it takes to get a day's wage is to work 1 hour, that's all I'm doing, right? This doesn't make sense. Why in the world is the vineyard owner handling his payment plan, his payment process with these day laborers like this? And of course, it upsets them so much that they say something about it. His response, the vineyard owner's response, but he answered them and said to one of them, "Friend, I am doing you no wrong. Did you not agree with me for a denarius? Take what is yours and go. But I wish to give to this last man the same as you. Is it not lawful for me to do what I wish with what is my own? Or is your eye envious because I am generous? So the last shall be first and the first last." So these 6 a.m.ers, they go to the vineyard owner and they're grumbling. And his response is, okay, yeah. So remind me, how much did I promise you? You promised me a day's wage. Okay, yeah. And how much did I pay you? You paid me a day's wage. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, guess what? You got what you asked for. This is what we agreed upon. I said I would pay you a day's wage, and that's what happened. I paid you a day's wage. And the whole climax, the twist ending of this here is in verse 15. Are you envious because I am generous? Is your eye envious? The Greek here literally says, is your eye evil because I am good? Do you have this evil eye begrudging my generosity? Are you jealous? Are you envious of the fact that I have decided to bless this person who only worked an hour? I think part of the reason why maybe this is hard for us to wrap our minds around is because this lifestyle of a day laborer is kind of foreign to us. We don't exactly have something much like that here. This is something that's present for sure in countries like India. They have day laborers where it's every morning you have to wake up and you have to go down to the marketplace and you have to pray that you get hired for the day. When I was in high school, one of my favorite movies was Cinderella Man. And it's this story. I don't know if anyone's seen it. If you haven't seen it, it's a great movie. I encourage seen it. Chris Gable's seen it. But it's based on a true story of a boxer during the Great Depression who, in a boxing match breaks his wrist. It's really hard to box professionally with a broken wrist. So now he's out of a job. And it's the Great Depression. Nobody's hiring. So he has to go down to the docks every single morning and beg to get hired, because they would have these cargo ships coming into the port. They'd have to unload all the cargo, reload more cargo. And there's these heart-wrenching scenes throughout the movie of going and trying to get paid for the day. And this is one of the scenes where there's this whole just crowd of people jamming themselves up violently against this gate, begging for someone to notice them so that they can get paid. And then there's that guy at the top, the guy who works the docks. There's this sea of people, and he comes down and he says, I need 6 people. That means the rest of you go home. That means the rest of you who I didn't hire, you have to go home to your wife, go home to your kids, and tell them, sorry, not today. That means you starve another day. That means your kids starve another day. So you go to bed hungry, you wake up at 5 a.m., you go down to the docks the next day and repeat the whole process, begging that someone would hire you so that you can just put a little bit of food on the table. Now, the servants who would have been working at the vineyard, they probably weren't living a luxurious life, the people who worked at the vineyard the whole year. But I bet, they ate, they were fed, they had a place to stay. These day laborers, though, they are absolutely desperate. If you don't get hired that day, you go home empty-handed and there's no food on your table. Not to mention, if you're there and you're trying to work and you're older or you're weak or you're sick or you're injured, are you going to get hired for 12 hours of back-breaking work? No. So these old men, old, weak people lining up, begging for work, not getting picked, going home. So let's put ourselves in the position in this parable, of the 11th hour worker. You have been sitting in the marketplace for 11 hours. You're getting ready to go home and tell your wife, yet again, sorry, not today. Didn't get picked. Or I'm too old, I'm too weak. Getting ready to go face your kids again and fail to put food on the table. And it's the 5th hour, or the 11th hour, 5 p.m., and you're getting ready to go home and have this conversation. Sorry, I got nothing. And then the vineyard owner shows up. Says, what are you doing standing around? Well, nobody hired me. Okay, I need you. Come on over. And you're thinking at this point, well, a 12th of a day's wage is better than nothing. It's a little bit of a buffer. Maybe I can put some food on the table, get a little bit of milk. So you work that hour, and you line up, and what do you get paid? A day's wage. Are you going home and putting food on the table? Can you care for your family now? Yeah. So, is the point of the parable how much you worked? Or is it how generous the vineyard owner is? That's the point. It's the generosity of the vineyard owner. And I just love how Jesus Christ tells this parable, because you read it and you're like, yeah, that's not fair. That's not right. I worked hard all day. And then it gets to the end and it's like, is your eye evil because I am generous? And it's like, son of a gun, you got me. And this parable exposes how easy it is to get offended at grace, to get offended at God's generosity. This reminds me, if you're in a fellowship group going through Romans, we just went over this in Romans 2, thinking lightly of God's riches. And so often for us as believers, this looks like getting caught playing the comparison game, right? Comparing yourself to other people, and maybe feeling like you're that 6 a.m. guy who's been working really hard and you deserve something. But I love what Paul says in 1 Cor 4, for who considers you superior? What do you have that you did not receive? And if you did receive it, why do you boast as if you had not received it? What we have to remember in this parable, like here's the guy at the very back. That's the 11th hour dude. Nobody hired him. He's sitting around all day. It's easy to look at that guy and maybe have a low view of him, get frustrated because he got paid more. But who are we in the parable? Well, first of all, I'll expand this argument later. But we are also a desperate day laborer who is dependent on the generosity of the vineyard owner. If we did not get hired, we are going home empty-handed. There is no room for us to feel like we deserve more. All of us are just day laborers trying to make it work, trying to put anything that we can on the table. And it is easy, like I was saying, it's easy to get frustrated at how God chooses to dole out like God's generosity, how he doles out his gifts or his blessings. And as believers, this comes out a lot in comparison, right? Comparing yourself to other believers. I've been in ministry long enough to know what it's like to play that comparison game. I've played it myself. I've seen other people play the comparison game, right? You're that guy. You've been working hard. And then maybe a friend comes around. You're outreaching to a friend or a friend of a friend, or maybe your buddy's outreaching to a guy, and he starts showing up to meetings, and then he gets saved. Praise the Lord. We got a new worker for God's kingdom. But then he starts doing like really well. And then like in 3 months, he's like up to teach a small group. And it's like, man, it took me like a year before I taught. And this guy's teaching at 3 months. But it's like, all right, give the new, throw the new guy a bone. I get it. But then he teaches and he does like really well. And it's like, sure. Okay, whatever. Broken clock's right 2 times a day. And then they start, they're start telling the good news of Jesus Christ to their friends and their family. Their parents start coming around. They get people's numbers. They just like get these blessings upon blessings, and they're charismatic. And it's like, dude, Billy Graham, calm down. It's been 6 months. But it's easy and tempting to get frustrated, right? Like, why is this guy getting all of these blessings and I'm not? Why is he being rewarded and I'm not? Right? Or the religious mindset. We judge the 11th hour people. They show up, oh, hey, glad you could finally join us. I've been working here for 11 hours already through the back-breaking work under the torturous sun. Glad you can finally help out. I'd love to chat, but I'm a little preoccupied. I'm busy. Chuck Swindoll calls this living on the jagged edge of comparison. And that sounds appropriate, right? This jagged edge where it's so unstable. It's so painful living this life of comparison. And here in this fellowship, we are a group that is incredibly tight. That's something that defines us, is how tight-knit we can be. Like, we know what's going on in one another's lives. But sometimes that lends itself to comparing, to bitterness. We see success in someone around us, and we get bitter. We get angry. Why did they get this gifting and I didn't? Why did they get this blessing, but I didn't? That's just focusing on the reward. That's focusing on what we think we deserve. That's focusing on merit. But again, what is the point of this parable? Is it how hard you've worked? Is it what you deserve? No. The point of this parable is how generous the Lord is. I'm convinced, at least something that I observed in my walk as the years have progressed, most of the time, if I am having an issue with the Lord, or a hiccup or a dull moment, a challenging moment in my walk with the Lord, it's because I have lost sight of the depth of God's riches. I have lost sight of how good he is. I've forgotten his grace. And that's why it's so important as believers, as Christians, to tell ourselves the gospel. How often do we tell ourselves the gospel? Who do you think, out of this parable, these people who showed up throughout the day and worked, who felt the most gratitude towards the vineyard owner? For sure, the guy who showed up 11 o'clock and worked 1 hour got paid a full day's wage. He recognizes and knows how much he has been blessed. The more I walk with the Lord, the more I have to remember how much he has blessed me. I have to make a conscious effort to dwell on the riches of God's kindness. I've been trying to do this lately, even with my prayer life. And this goes back to the Lord's Prayer. It's so easy for me in my prayer life to, one, I am a pretty functional, pragmatic person. So my prayers are often very functional. Lord, I have to do this thing. Lord, help me with this thing. And they're often they're wants, like, Lord, I need help, or Lord, I'm frustrated. Yet how beautiful is it to sit down with the Lord and open up with some gratitude, recognizing, like it says in the Lord's Prayer, putting him in his place. Lord, you are holy, you are perfect, you have blessed me more than I deserve. And when you have this sense of gratitude and recognizing what the Lord has done and how he has saved you, your bitternesses start to shrink, your anxieties start to diminish, and you realize, I'm not in this for merit. I'm not in this for the game playing, for the comparison. I'm in this because the Lord is kind and he has blessed me. And when we, when we don't compare ourselves, when we drop this comparison game and put ourselves in a position where we are reflecting on how gracious the Lord is, then it's not like me competing with you, who's doing the job better, but rather it's like, dude, you got paid a full day's wage too? Same. I can't believe he paid us a full day's wage. I can't believe he has blessed us so much more than we deserve. It's not a competition anymore. We are sitting in a position of equal gratitude because all of us, remember, all of us in this parable are poor and destitute and broken and dependent on the riches of the vineyard owner. And it's also kind of funny because these conversations that we have with the Lord, when we get in this game of like comparison or judging other people's blessings, ultimately what boils down to is a conversation on what we think we deserve, which is funny because do you want to have a conversation with God on what you think you deserve? If he were to entertain that, like, okay, you want to talk about what's fair and what you deserve hell. Yet I have blessed you far beyond what you deserve. Do you begrudge my generosity? Also, in this story, in this parable, who's the person who lost the most money? Was it any of the workers or was it the vineyard owner? The guy who you worked 3 hours, 6 hours, you worked 1 hour, yet I still chose to pay you a full day's wage. That's the person, I agree. I don't know someone's agreeing with me back there. That's the person who ultimately got robbed in this. Yet again, what does that expose? His generosity. And the way he ends, both 19 and 20, the last shall be first and the first shall be last. Our expectations on performance, on merit, on grace, all of those things, Jesus Christ is saying the rules have changed. It's not what you expect anymore. Philip Yancey has this book, What's So Amazing About Grace. I highly recommend it. I will also be honest, I haven't finished it yet, but it is a tremendous book. I encourage everyone to check it out. As I said earlier, the older I get in my life and in my walk, and this goes for everybody, we need to constantly remind ourselves of how profound grace is. And Philip Yancey does a great job of that in this book. But he talks about this parable and what's so amazing about grace. Significantly, many Christians who study this parable identify themselves with the employees who put in a full day's work, which I was like, dang, I didn't realize that. But if I were to revisit the first time I read this, who am I identifying with? I'm identifying with the guy who's been working hard all day, working really hard all day. Anyway, we identify with the employees who put in a full day's work rather than the add-ons at the end. We like to think of ourselves as responsible workers, and the employer's strange behavior baffles us as it did the original hearers. We risk missing the story's point, that God dispenses gifts, not wages. None of us get paid according to merit, for none of us come close to satisfying God's requirements of a perfect life. If paid on the basis of fairness, we would end up in hell. Again, it's a great book. If you're looking for something to read over spring break down in Florida, give this one a shot. It's great. But Philip Yancey's saying the same thing that I have been reiterating this entire time. The point of this parable is we have a gracious God. And for those of you here tonight who are a believer, you've been walking with the Lord for any amount of time. Maybe you've been walking for an hour. Maybe you've been walking for 12 years. I want us to walk out of here tonight with a renewed sense of God's graciousness, of what he has done, of how he has redeemed us. Like Philip Yancey said, we all want to identify ourselves with the first hour, the 6 a.m. guy who's been working hard all day. Yet ultimately, all of us are the 11th hour people. All of us were paid so much more than what we deserve. And when we recognize this, the position that we are in and how much the Lord has saved us, this really puts us in a position of freedom. Playing the game of comparison, playing the game of what we deserve is an exhausting position to be in. It is not a freeing position to be in. The Lord wants to liberate us from these types of games. He wants us to just focus on how good he is, that we are all destitute and all needy. Yet he has redeemed us. He has blessed us more than what we deserve. Many of us, I think, play this comparison game because we're insecure. That's at least what it looks like a lot in my life. I compare myself to other people because I'm insecure about where I'm at and what I should be doing. You know, you see your friend who is doing well and getting these blessings and having success and fruit, and ultimately they're having joy. And you're looking at your life and you're like, man, where's my joy at? And then you feel guilty. I should be joyful right now. And you feel insecure. I should be bearing fruit. Why am I not succeeding like this guy? And we feel insecure. We feel defeated. But this parable is good news. This parable is about God's graciousness. We're not defeated. We're not lesser, but we are redeemed. He has paid an insane price to be with us. We don't have to wallow in defeat. And the exact opposite. We can come to him in a posture of gratitude. Lord, look at what you have done. Look at how you have redeemed me. And again, remember the context of this, the little kids versus the rich man. And if you're going to pick some people to hang out with, are you going to pick like the annoying little kids or the rich guy who's probably going to at least pick up your dinner tab? You're going to want to hang out with the rich guy. But just like Jesus said, all of our expectations on performance, on grace, on merit, all of that is different. I want you to come to me like a little kid who knows that they're dependent, that knows that all they can do is trust. They can't provide for themselves. They are dependent and trusting on the graciousness of Jesus Christ. That's who they are. And also recognize what's happening in this parable is he's hiring these people to come work at his vineyard. As believers, recognize that the Lord has brought us in to some very significant work. He is calling us to work in his kingdom, to work in his vineyard, to be lights, and to recognize that he has assembled a pretty awesome team of people here at Freedom Fellowships, right? He has assembled an awesome team, and all of us can play a very incredibly significant role. We can work together to be a light, to be a people who champion the Lord's grace, that we can work together to spread his good news, that we can do something significant here in this ministry. And when we work together, when we recognize that we are all poor 11th hour people, I don't have to compete anymore. We're not competing, but rather we're working together. And that's something that I have to think about quite a bit. Do I view my brothers and sisters around me as people, as co-workers in God's kingdom? People who are in the same position that I am. I am no better than them. What was that 1 Cor 4? Who says that you're superior? I am not superior. We are all in the same position, and we are all working towards a tremendous goal, for an incredibly gracious Lord. You have been forgiven and blessed. I have been forgiven and blessed. Let us rejoice together in that. This is an encouraging parable. I don't want us to miss that point. It's so easy to get caught up in who we are and how much we've worked. But let us not be envious of the Lord's graciousness, of his generosity. And if you're here and you don't know Jesus Christ, or you're investigating, again, this parable is good news. I am generous. Jesus Christ is generous. And this parable tells us that it's never too late and you can never be too broken. Years ago when I was in college, I worked for Pennsylvania Department of Transportation with a bunch of grizzled old vets. And there was one in particular who would say, I've done too much, man. There's no way that God would ever let me into heaven. I'm too messed up. I've done too many broken, messed up things. There's no way that God would ever forgive a guy like me. That's not the story of this parable. Grace, and what is so profound about grace, this idea of absolute forgiveness of everything you've done, is not found in any other religion. God, Jesus Christ, is not about earning. He's not about performance. He's about forgiveness. He's about a relationship. And again, it's never too late and you're never too lost. It's not directly in the text, but I think we can discern or at least imply that the reason these people are still around at 5 p.m. is because they weren't worthy of being hired. He asks them, why are you still standing around? Well, no one hired me. Who are the people throughout the day who aren't going to get hired? The broken, the old, the poor. So the Lord shows up at 11 p.m. to all the rejects. And he says, I need you. You're not too broken. You're not too poor. You're not too injured. I need you. Will you come work for me? He sees us, no matter how broken we are, no matter how messed up we are, it's never too much for him. He wants to redeem us. He wants to bless us far beyond what we deserve. He comes to us at the 11th hour, the broken, rejected people, and says, I want to know you. I want to pay a price to be with you. And it starts with recognizing that we're those 11th hour people. We need the Lord. We are broken people. We can't save ourselves. And grace is offensive because we want to earn it, right? But there's nothing that we can do to earn favor with the Lord. There's nothing that you can do to earn your way into heaven. You have to recognize that all of us fail to meet the standards of God, the standards of perfection, that none of us measure up. But again, that's the point. The point is he is generous. You don't have to measure up. Lord, I am imperfect and broken, and I am irredeemable. And he says, I want to redeem you. All you have to do is come to me, and I will give you rest. That's all it takes. Lord, I can't save myself. Call out to the Lord. Ask him to redeem you. And he will bring you in to some significant work in his vineyard. Grace is not offensive, but it's the best news that we could possibly hear. And I pray that all of us walk out of here tonight reminded of that. But that's what I had, so I'll go ahead and pray it down. And we can have some questions and comments. I need some water first. Well, Lord, thank you for redeeming us. Thank you for paying such a price to be with us. Thank you for blessing us, Lord. It's so easy for me to get caught up in just the nitty-gritty and to get tied up with what I think I deserve or comparing myself to other people. But Lord, all you care about is showering us with your blessings. You don't want us to play these mind games. You want us to just come to you like children. Recognize that we are dependent on you, to recognize that we need you. Lord, I just pray that we can meditate on that tonight. I want us to walk out of here with a renewed sense of how generous you are, how gracious you are. Lord, you have redeemed us. We don't deserve it. You have blessed us with innumerable blessings. You sent your son to die on the cross to redeem us. You have purchased us. You have brought us into significant work at your vineyard. Lord, help us to recognize that we are co-workers in your kingdom. None of us is better than the other. All of us are necessary. All of us are needed. None of us are too broken. Just pray, Lord, that we can rest in your grace, that we can recognize that your burden is light, and recognize how much you want to just bless us and continue to bless us. Lord, I also want to pray for the people here who don't know you, who are investigating you, who maybe feel lost, feel like grace is offensive, or maybe feel like they are too broken. Lord, you want to know them. You are pursuing them. They are here tonight, Lord, because you are in pursuit of them. You are in pursuit of their heart. You want to redeem them, Lord. You want to bring them into significant work. You have paid a high price to be with them, and you want to bless them beyond measure as well, Lord. Just thank you so much for your blessings, and just pray that we can have a edifying rest of our night here tonight. Amen. Any thoughts or questions? Thank you. Hey, Gracia.
I just wanted to add a little story thing. So yesterday, one of my friends had told me that this girl she was working with or whatever, accepted Christ. And she like told me that, and I was like not excited.
Mm.
I was just kind of like, that is news, certainly. And I noticed like in that moment, I was like, that is messed up. Like, why am I not excited about
Yeah.
this person having salvation and stuff and like that grace aspect? And so I think this teaching was just the last like puzzle piece almost for this thing that the Lord has been putting on me, that just grace I've like forgotten
Yeah.
all about it. And actually within like the next 2 days, I'm going to be doing a word study on grace and forgiveness, which is probably, I don't know. So it's just very timely of like, hey,
Yeah.
why isn't grace exciting for me, for the people around me, for unbelievers? Like,
Yeah.
that's twisted. So I don't know.
Well,
Thanks,
I'm
thanks.
excited to see what you come up with on your word study.
I've never
I'm
done a
sure
word
you'll come
study
across
before.
this passage.
Probably. So thank you.
Thanks for sharing. What's up, Darren?
Hey, Ian.
Hey.
Good teaching.
Thank
This was actually something that I kind of struggled with over this last year. It's funny. So, I have fruit. You know my fruit,
Mhm.
and this was something that I like really struggled with at the time that he was like coming to know the Lord. I just saw how much like everyone in our home church was really like investing in him, and yeah, I really struggled with it because I came into the home church in pretty much the exact same situation.
Yeah.
And I saw him get a car from someone in our home church, and I saw everyone helping him get a job and all this other stuff. And I thought back to my situation at the time, and I thought like, where was that for me, right?
Mm.
And it really like ate me up for like probably a month or so, but it really like made me turn back to God and like look and say,
That's cool.
I was still blessed. I received that job. I got my car. I built in with all these people, and it was really just like eye-opening because it was like, yeah, we both got our day's wage, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe I was on the walk for a longer period of time, but it really helped me when it came to like trusting God's timing. And I guess that's something that I learned as I like kind of matured on my
Yeah.
walk. It was only a year, but like it really emphasized to me like the importance of just like trusting in him, and then recognizing that he did still bless me.
Yeah.
And he continues to bless me. And it was kind of like funny looking back because it's like that was very clearly the enemy working to
Yeah.
get me to feel like God wasn't on my side, even though he gave me fruit, right?
Mhm.
He gave me one of the best blessings that like we as Christians can ask for. And yeah, so I just wanted to say that this was a good teaching. And
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. Sounds like the Lord really gave you some insight on this too. And sounds like I don't know, he's showing you something cool. Thanks for sharing that. Hey, Rich.
Ian, hello, good job. I have a comment from online. This person says, I got a raise at work and started to feel bad because I realized that my coworkers made less than me, but seem to be working harder than me. It goes on to say, we have different responsibilities, my workflow isn't as busy, et cetera, et cetera. It began to bother me, and I talked to a brother in Christ about it. And they brought up this parable and said, isn't it your boss's business? So doesn't he have the freedom to pay whoever he wants, however much he chooses? Really put in perspective that I should respect my boss's choices just as I should respect God's choices. Maybe you can comment on that.
Yeah, that's cool. How's it going, bud? Sorry, what's your name?
What's up? My name is Brady.
Brady?
Braden.
Nice to meet you. Braden.
But I go by Tay, but
Tay,
Tay's
okay.
my middle name. Braden Tay.
Nice to meet you, Tay.
Nice to meet you too. I don't know. I ain't never done this before. You see, honestly, I want to shout out, Jordan over there. Yeah, he been taking me for like 4 years. He been helping me, giving me good advice. I mean, sometimes I be taking it, but I mean, I don't really be. I be doing what I gotta do for real, but I've been through a lot of things. Cause honestly, if I haven't been through any of them things, I wouldn't have met Jordan. And I'm happy somewhat happy I've been through a lot of them things. Cause he
Yeah.
been really talking to me whenever my mind off. I gotta screw it back on. But yeah, I just wanna say I've been through a lot of stuff for real and mentally messed me up. Like I've had to leave my family, got kicked out. I've been arrested 30 times in like 3 months. But that was like when I was little, like younger. I'm 17 now, but that was when I was like 13, 14-ish. And I just kept doing stupid stuff for real. And I don't know, it just really messed with my mind because I'm be for real with this. I lost my parents to drugs when I was like younger. My dad when I was 6. Messed with me because I was there when he overdosed.
Dang.
And he died in front of me. And sometimes I'll be thinking life would be different if that didn't happen. But everything happened for a reason. So my mom was when I was 9. And after that, I just was little, so I didn't understand nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I got into a lot of bad stuff that I can't really say in.
Yeah.
But it's bad stuff for recently. I've been going through a lot of stuff. I be living in Cleveland now, so I'm probably coming in once every month. Jordan come up, pick me up, I come here. And yeah, do whatever. But I be living in Cleveland. That's not the part I'm at. It's scary for real.
Yeah.
I have to, like, it's either you gotta be cautious where you walking, or you gonna go through something, and it's scary because everybody over there just be on some weird stuff for real.
Yeah.
And I'm looking, and I'm like, this crazy. So I have to stay inside. So I don't really be trying to go outside for real, cause
I'm glad
every
you can
time
make it out here.
yeah, every time I be outside, well, last time I ain't gonna lie, it been messing with my dreams for real, and I
Yeah.
can't. I stopped going to sleep for real, but I pass out and then I go to sleep for like 3 hours and stuff. But it really be messing with me because I don't really be doing nothing for real. But we was playing basketball, and this just the everyday playing. When I be playing basketball, I don't be expecting nothing to happen for real. And I was just with one of my friends and his friend, and it was like 3 of us. We were just playing a little game of 21. And then we finished the game up. I'm sitting there, standing there like on the court with the ball in my hands. I just see a van pull over, and there's like 4 people sitting outside of it. And I got scared, so we just ran. And they start like coming in, like you hear the tires screeching on the basketball court, and we just got scared, and I ain't been sleeping since. And it really all this stuff that
Sounds
I've
like a
been
lot.
through, yeah.
But I think we could probably talk about a lot of these things afterwards too. I don't know if I don't want you to air all this out, but
It's cool. I mean, I'll talk to you about it later, but but it's that, and then all the thoughts that be processed, and I get paranoid whenever I'm here. So honestly, I ain't really want to come up here, but I've been wanting to do this since like 4 years ago, since I started doing this, cause I don't really be paying attention for real, but I be paying attention to what you saying, and I really like that Cinderella Man thing.
a good movie.
I got a creative mindset, and I saw that, I'm like, dang, that look cool. I was about to take a picture of it for real. I'll probably just look it up on Google.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well-
yeah. that's all I got for real. I'm
Thanks,
ready.
man. Well, I would also take comfort in that the Lord wants to renew your mind and pursue Him. I don't know if you have a relationship with Him, but He wants to renew your mind. He wants to
Honestly,
transform you, redeem you.
I haven't really been thinking deeply about it, but I've been like these recently months type stuff. I've been thinking about it for real. I even
cool.
got me a little cross, like a cross necklace, and I just put it on
Yeah.
put it like right above my bed
Nice.
whenever I sleep, so it could be with me.
That's cool.
So I don't got
Well,
nightmares.
thanks for sharing that, man.
Yup,
Thankful that Jordan brought you around.
yup.
Cool. Sweet. Well, that's all I got. No one has anything else. Let's hang out.